Joining me now, our panel, Sky News contributor Kosha Garda and the past chair of Parliament's Foreign Affairs and Defence Committee, Michael Danby. Well, Michael, what the heck's going on here?
Well, I was on the Intelligence Committee, and I think it's your experience too that opposition should be given security briefings.
That's about the caretaker conventions. We'll get to that. But do you believe there's veracity to this claim by Russia?
Jane's is one of the most reputable outfits in the defence space around, very technical and very non-partisan. And I don't want Russian Bear aircraft visiting Indonesian bases, even if it's for 20 minutes. It's a threat to Australia because we don't have the resources now. We've cancelled the fourth squadron to match them.
Kosha?
I think there's a spectrum of possibilities because we can never know the full truth. One is that Russia has done this. There is truth to it. It is a reputable journal. There is precedent of them forming alliances with neutral, so-called neutral countries in that region, like India and
joined
Vietnam.
The BRICS, which
it's a BRICS country.
And to exploit gaps in the sphere of influence between China and the US. It could be that. It could be maybe overzealous reporting. These are very reputable sources, but maybe they're exaggerating because of bad information that was deliberately fed to them by any of these actors. And everybody has motivations for planting things, all the actors involved, so it could be something like that as well.
Let's have a look on to the point of caretaker convention. So the opposition, Peta Credlin, has asked for a briefing because there seems to be discrepancies in the information between the Prime Minister and the Defence Minister, Richard Marles, and the timeline is not standing up to scrutiny. How long have they known? Did they know? Were they informed? Now listen to this from Richard Marles when the opposition has been denied for the past 48 hours a formal briefing. Oh, we don't have that grab. Basically, Marles has said, there's nothing to see here, that's why we're not going to give you a briefing. Now, Michael, you and I know caretaker conventions very well. I am staggered if the opposition doesn't ask for a briefing, forget the politicians, but the public service should step in and say, we will honour the convention. This stinks to me.
Well, it's the wrong thing to do. It's not for the incumbent government to decide in security areas what briefings they should get. And congratulations to Sky. Last night you had that thug Russian ambassador in Indonesia sort of spew it all out that it really is on and attack Australia for saying that we have some pathetic amount of sea-to-air missiles, you know, and that's why the Russians have to sort of muscle in on the Indonesians' behalf. Come on, half of this story is out. Just be bipartisan. The opposition should behave responsibly if they do get secret information, but you've got to give it to them.
We'll come to our deportations in a moment, but what's going on with the Trump administration and the deportations to El Salvador of criminals?
It's become a flashpoint issue where they famously did those 3 planes. There was that judge who issued the injunction to turn the planes around mid-air. Trump administration didn't comply. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court that favored the Trump administration and their contention that this is executive power. That judge did not have jurisdiction. He's now come out and said, be that as it may, in that moment before it went up to the Supreme Court, you were in violation or in contempt of court. So he's brought contempt of court charges to them. And all of this is just moving to that constitutional crisis phrase that's being thrown about because it's about the judiciary, Article 3 power versus Article 2. The feeling and the view of most is that the judiciary does not have standing to tell the executive branch how to handle immigration.
It's all about, like a deliberate move to have that manufactured chaos, which hurts government incumbents.
It absolutely does, but they're hurtling ahead, and I think they're not going to come off the immigration issue, which is a signature issue of Trump, but they're also not going to come off this conflict or collision course, I would say, that Article 2 and Article 3.
All right, let's go to ours, because we've got an NZYQ guy who should be deported to Nauru, but says, I will not be deported. He's fighting it through the courts. Too hot, too humid, he says.
Unbelievable, Peter. I mean, does the Australian taxpayer have to fund these vexatious and silly claims? I mean, it's too hot. What about all the poor people who live in Nauru?
All right, we heard you there, but let's get to this. You are going out and proud with this in the papers.
Well, I believe that in McNamara, people should, if they want to vote Labor, not give the Greens their preferences. And I've got a full-out social media campaign.
Wow.
McNamara residents against extremism.
Yep.
Me and Tony Lupton are out there loud and proud. We're still saying vote Labor, but don't give your preferences to the Greens, give it to the Liberals ahead of them.
Good on you, Michael Danby. There you go. If you're in that seat, there's your writing instructions to avoid a Greens catastrophe.